welcome to Inspiring Women with ADHD. I'm Renee. I'm the host of this podcast. Excited to be here. And I just have to take a moment to congratulate myself because I was thinking about how many things I've had to learn to figure out how to produce a podcast on my own, that I could film and have the sound good. And I'm just giving myself a little round of applause in my mind because sometimes you have to do that. It's not easy. Learning to do all this, the video and audio and stuff, teaching yoga on Zoom during COVID took a lot of trial and error. And the more I did it, I still try new things all the time. And that prepared me a little bit, but this is kind of next level. so, so if you ever find a glitch, that's probably because I messed something up. But for the most part, hopefully I'm doing a good job. And I also don't really listen to them all the way through. I do all the editing kind of things that a lot of people do because I don't have the time to do it. So I wouldn't be able to actually send the podcast to anybody if I did that. I go on Reddit sometimes and hear from other podcasters who talk about how much time they spend, and more power to them. I think that's amazing. But if somebody told me you had to do that much in order to produce your podcast, I'd think, "Oh, bummer. I'm not gonna be able to make a podcast then." So, anyway, thanks for listening to that. I just was feeling that and had to get it out. But guess what? I'm talking about consistency again because my last episode was a lot shorter, and the first episode where I talked about it was just kind of a brief intro. But I'm gradually kind of scratching the surface, or I have gradually scratched the surface. And now I wanted to talk about it a little bit more because I think last episode I talked about the awareness of noticing what gets in the way of your consistency. There are a lot of things that can get in the way of focus. Focusing is a big struggle for a lot of people with ADHD, and it can ebb and flow over life. There could be things that you do right now that you think I have no problem focusing on that. And a different phase of life, you might think, why can't I do that anymore? And it could have to do with other circumstances in your life, like health issues or people or your surroundings or where you live or all those kinds of factors, but also hormonally. As you get older, your hormones change. As you menstruate, as you have a baby, if you have a baby, all those things can take your hormones through a roller coaster ride. And it can impact things like the ability to focus, the ability to be consistent. Sometimes we grasp onto something that we can be consistent with just to get through times like that. And that can also help us be more balanced hormonally. However, it just depends on what you're trying to be consistent with. Like if you're already consistent with exercise or something like that, or some kind of a healthy habit that can help you, but it doesn't mean that you won't have a struggle with something, because that is life for sure to have a struggle with something. But let me pull up my little glasses so I can read my notes here. But so there are some different ways to look at. Let me see where I'm finding um, how to support yourself to be consistent and recognizing in your own life, because there's things like there can be different things that can get in the way of consistency. But over time, you will notice patterns of what impacts you. What impacts you might be different than what impacts somebody else. And somebody saying, oh, just be consistent, just work harder, doesn't always work. It's not a thing that you just will to happen. It's noticing the things that you trip over and trying to control your environment in some way or prevent those things. And a lot of times that has to do with the way your life is set up, or just noticing more if you can. Not always possible. Another thing not always possible with to be consistent with. But I also don't want to play that down so much because we also have amazing capabilities, and we can put things in our mind of, I don't want to do that again. What can I do? And you really s- strategize and think, what can I do to help be more consistent with this goal that I have, and make sure that every day I give this amount of time to this, or every day at that time. The more specific the goal is of what time, who you're going to meet, where you're going to go, or even if it's in your house, the more specific that is, then the more likely you are to be able to do it. One of the problems with having goals that are in your house is there are so many variables because you can get distracted because you have a lot of things you probably want to get done, or you have people that come in and out if you don't live alone. So a lot of those things can make consistency hard. So being really specific, or maybe that's one of the things that you find is a problem is I want to be able to work on this for 2 hours a day on my computer, and I'm not able to do it in my house. So where could I go and do that instead? And in this day and age, we have coffee shops, we have places that have free internet. Well, everywhere internet's pretty much free, right? But where you can get the Wi-Fi password and go and maybe have a quiet environment. When I was in college, people used to go to the library. They had spots on campus that they go and study. I've always liked to lay on my bed or lay on the floor on my stomach to get work done. And I did that through a lot of my college years. I did get a bachelor's degree many years ago in the English language, not a language major. It wasn't a linguistic major, but in English. But just in case somebody doesn't understand US education, like if I said I got a major in English, it might sound like I wasn't speaking a different language in my major, but it was just an English major. Oh my goodness, I digress. You probably all understood that. But let me give you some reasons why consistency is harder with ADHD. So, one is problems with prioritizing and just really deciding which goal is the most important, what you want to be consistent with the most. And the nice thing about habits is once you get consistent with that, it does open you up to having more time to put into strategizing how to do the next thing that you want to do. So let's say you want to floss your teeth every night and you haven't been doing that. And you really focus on that, whether it's you putting a note on your mirror that says you can write on your mirror in lipstick. I don't know if you know that. You probably do. I haven't done that in a long time, and I probably should because it'd be kind of fun. But you can write on lipstick. Maybe it's a waste of lipstick, but whatever. I loved doing it when I was in high school. I don't know why we did it, but we did. Anyway, you can write a note. Floss, flossing is fun. You can write whatever it is that you want, and set a goal to do it for 30 days or whatever it is, or before your next cleaning appointment at the dentist, and see if you get, like I did last visit, a very glowing review from my dental hygienist. I can't tell you, I since I've been going to the dentist since I was a little child, I have never gotten glowing reviews from the dentist, so that felt good. It's funny how we need praise even from the dentist office. My kids got it from a young age, and I don't know if they appreciate it, but their dentist was so nice, and he would always it was a pediatric dentist, and he would do the work on each child, and I have 6 kids. I don't know where was James old enough that all the kids went at the same time? Probably, but they'd all go in, and they'd take turns going in. I think he did because I remember him playing they had all these toys and things that the kids could play with. I mean, really amazing, kinda the Disneyland of dentists, but, they'd get called in, and then the dentist would come out and tell the parent personally how the checkup went, and I would hear Dr. Tucker say things to other parents, and sometimes it was good, sometimes it was, that this your child needs this or that, and he would come out to my kids every time, "Another glowing checkup, another perfect checkup." He was always so excited, and as a mom who didn't know I had ADHD then, and like to cut little steps in the evening routine for my kids as much as I do for myself. I don't like to wash my face or floss or whatever, but I didn't always make sure my kids brushed their teeth. I didn't always make sure they did those things. They probably learned about dental floss from the little free things that you get from the dentist, but he'd come out and say that, and I'd think, "Phew." I was just so relieved. I was so relieved that they had my husband's enamel on their teeth and not mine. But anyway, yeah. So whatever that new thing is, the prioritizing, just pick one, even if it may be hard for you to weigh out, just pick one. Even if you write them down on little pieces of paper, put them in a bowl or a basket and choose one and work on that. And when you get consistent with that, then choose another one and work on that. Just the things that you either have wanted to do and haven't been able to, or used to, and you haven't been consistent with it. And another thing is just starting. just beginning, dealing with the overwhelm, the dread, all that kind of stuff. And sometimes the starting is just doing a bit of it, making your goals smaller. If you want to go hiking with your friend every Saturday, but you don't know if you're strong enough to hike the mountains or something, just go for a walk every day and start walking hills or walk them down the stairs in your house more often or something. There's just a lot of things you can even do at home. I used to, well, obviously, the step workouts, that's something from the past, but when the step was first a new fitness trend in the '90s, I actually probably 89 because I that's when I first did my step workout, but those of you with really good recall to memories like I have to go back and verify that, but I mean, I have to just say that out loud. I do know it's 1989. Anyway, when I first did a step workout, I loved it so much, and I wanted to buy a step, and I eventually did. 2 years later, I my husband and I made money house sitting for a family, and I told him it was $200 that we made, and we each took half and bought what we wanted, and I bought a step for $100, which that's one of the things that the price hasn't gone up, it's kinda just stayed the same. But before I got a step, I actually just used the stairs in front of my apartment and just went up and down, like step up, step back, and thought it was really fun. And I don't know, it just felt good. Maybe it's the hyperactive part of my ADHD, but you can just do something simple like that. You can walk up and down a step. You can just do something simple. If you have problems following through, that is a big part of executive dysfunction. And if you look at these things, prioritizing, starting tasks, following through, the prioritizing, or even making decisions. What do I want to do? Well, how do I want to make it smaller? Which not only what should I do, but like what kind of exercise should I do? Where should I do it? All those kind of things. Sometimes planning comes easily and other times it doesn't. All of these things that are a struggle for women with ADHD, they are really solved with some kind of accountability partner or a group. If you join any kind of fitness challenge or nutrition challenge or 2 months of this or whatever it is, or even just talk to a few friends, or if you want to do that with me, let me know. I want to do that too. And right now, at this point with my podcast, I'm not charging for things like that, but I really want to have accountability groups. And I would love to do that with you, even if we're just emailing and checking in or something. I started a group last year on WhatsApp and we did that for a while, but the consistency fell off for some of us. But if you keep consistent with it, I would keep consistent with it too. I mean, I should be the leader for sure. I don't know what happened. Things happen, right? But all of those things can be helped with accountability, with people who are doing it along with you because you already know when you're going to start because they say we're going to start on Monday and you already know what kind of goal you want to have because they say choose some way to exercise for 30 minutes every day. If something like that is defined or you just decide as a friend group or relatives or whatever, that can make it easier because you're not just doing it on your own. It's really nice to have somebody to bounce ideas off of. If you have somebody who's like-minded, has a similar interest as you, and you even just go out to lunch or go out to eat or something and talk about it and say, "This is my goal. I'm trying to work on it. I am too." And you just support each other in that. And then other times, there's distractions, there's overwhelm, there's perfectionism. I talked about that last time. Actually, I talked about the other word that starts with a P is people pleasing and letting others' priorities get in the way because you want to help them. You want to not have them feel bad that, you just have all this desire to help or just help them be happy. That's people pleasing, that's empathy, it's a lot of things. The perfectionism too is thinking if my goal isn't big enough, if it isn't grand, then I don't want to do it at all. I tend to do that with my workouts. I used to do workouts that, well, I'll tell you, the kinds that I've had the most success with, and now when I analyze it, it it took the decision making responsibility away from me. One was following some kind of exercise plan, like this is a 6-week plan, do these DVDs in this order, or do 3 of these and 2 of these each week. And I'd look at the calendar and I'd say, okay, I'll do these Monday, Wednesday, Friday, these Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I'd share them with a friend. So there was some accountability. I'd report on video fitness forums and things. There were a couple that I belonged to. And so I had this check in, I had this format, and did really well with that. Then I started feeling like, oh, I can do this on my own. I can choose on my own. I'll do 3 weight workouts a week. One will be legs, one will be, and this cardio, all this kind of that thing. I did really well with it for a while, but then it started getting kind of not as specialized, and it was still challenging. But I started get falling into that perfectionism of, but I wanna do it all. Like, I wanna do weightlifting. I also wanna have a Pilates day. No, I should have 3 Pilates days. Well, I'm also teaching yoga. Well, I wanted to do it all. It was like seeing all these choices of what to eat on the menu, and you can't decide what to order. It was like that with my workouts, and I had such a desire to do way too much, whether that's actual perfectionism, if I can't do it perfectly, but if I can't like, do it in the biggest way, then the alternative was not doing it because I couldn't decide, which is just lame-o. So, it's definitely an all or nothing thinking, which it comes into healthy eating all the time. If you want to eat healthier and you make tiny changes, you'll probably be eating healthier than you are if you say, I'm going to give up this, 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 and then you don't even make it through a whole day or two without being successful. And so you go back to what you did before and you haven't made any healthy changes. But doing something like, what do I add in? There's so much more success with that because you're obviously not going to add in everything, right? But you can add in, I'm going to have more greens this week. I'm going to eat more salads or put lettuce on my sandwich or blend in some vegetables into my soups that I won't even taste that there's spinach in there or whatever it is, or I'll make some green smoothies. I'll just learn to make one new thing that has greens in it. Green powders are really great. They're basically green vegetables, leafy greens, dehydrated, put in a powder, and you put the scoops in your smoothie. You don't even taste them. And there's a lot of ways to add things in, add in protein. As we get older, we definitely need more protein. But that's also, it's not like you can have too much protein. So at some point you're going to stop. Hopefully, don't want to get yourself sick. But honestly, with my all or nothing thinking, those are the extremes I go to. Like, well, I don't want to eat too much protein, so I overthink it. Multitasking, yeah, I talked about that last time. Is that you work well? That divided attention gets in the way of your progress. Whatever you're working on, you're not going to be as successful if you're doing trying to do other things at the same time. It, I don't know if you've ever said to somebody, I need your undivided attention. Maybe you say that to a child. I need you to listen to me. Look at my eyes. I need you to listen to me. Because if their attention is in all these other places, they're not listening to you. And the same thing happens for us. If our attention is in other places, then we're not going to be getting a lot done. That's another reason or another example of why maybe leaving your house to work on something where there won't be the possibility of people that coming up and talking to you. That can help. Um, yeah, multitasking. There can be more errors and less completion. I don't know if you're a chatty person like I am, but I'm I've just learned, like, probably in the past month, I've been noticing that when somebody's trying to do something for me, like at a store, they're ringing something up, and yes, I'm definitely somebody who likes to talk to the person at the checkout counter and get my feelings a little bit hurt when they're not interested, but I can live with it. Like, I can live with it, but sometimes I think, "Gosh, I thought that would spark your joy, and it didn't." I'm kinda disappointed that people don't feel more joy in life, but I don't have to have them like me. I'm just trying to brighten someone's day, I guess, and maybe that's not everyone's thing that they're looking for, but I find that sometimes when I'm talking to them, I notice that I've distracted them and they make a mistake, and I've been noticing that more and trying not to do it. In my excitement for life, my excitement to meet a new friend, make a new friend, I do that even with people who deliver a package. I mean, maybe like if it's an Amazon package or something, a FedEx man or something, I'll say hello or something, but, um, I know they've gotta go. But I've done some of the delivery services like Target or Walmart Plus or Sam's Club or different places that we have around here. Some of them I've done the trial, some I've signed up for. And at Christmas time, I was doing Target, and a woman came, and a lot of times they just bring it and I don't even see it. But when I see it, I think, "Oh, I'll walk out to their car and I'll help them. They don't have to walk up to the house, and I'll say hello." And just, I'm just excited to talk to somebody. And this one woman, I can't even remember what I said, but I had just a few sentences of a conversation while she was getting the bags out of the car. And it was just a few things that I bought, and she handed me the bags and then looked at her little device that she had to record that she had, delivered the order. She probably even had to take a picture of it. Sometimes they'll even, like, hold out the bag and take the picture. I've watched lots of things since I like to go talk to them, but I've been trying to reel in my desire to talk to them because what happened is she handed me the bags, and I said, "Thanks so much," and, we both we're just having such a great day from getting to interact. And then I went back in the house, and the first bag I opened was not my order. The other 2 bags were, and she didn't make a mistake as in, like, I didn't get everything I needed. Didn't order that much. And sometimes the things that you order weren't available, and I don't always see my text. So I didn't see that, like, "Sorry, we're out of this, and is there something else you'd like as a substitution?" I always look at the text later like, "Oh, okay." But I looked, and she had already driven away, and she had delivered somebody else's bag to me, and I don't live that close to, like, neighborhoods. I live in a neighborhood, but it's pretty far out in an area with a lot of cows, and so I just thought, I feel so bad if she drives 10 miles away or something to her next delivery because I don't live that close to Target and has to drive all the way back here. I will just feel, like, so awful because I know it was my fault. I know that I was talking to her while she was grabbing the bags and trying to decide, "Okay, now what am I getting for her?" And so I hurried and texted. I tried calling her, but it was just with the company. I don't know if it shipped or something like that. But, I tried calling and it said, that number doesn't get calls. So I texted the number, and she came back and got it. I put it on a chair for her. But I've been noticing that, like, I don't want to be the person that causes the distraction because they are multitasking by trying to have a conversation with me while they're trying to get the work done. And I've been trying to learn how to say that, to explain that in a nice way to people around me when I'm trying to get something done. And it may be something that they're helping with too, but because of their interaction, I'm just like, you're not helping, it's making it worse. So, oh, yeah. I say that when I know that I'm an offender of that too, for sure. But yeah, your energy, your attention gets scattered. Um, so consistency is not perfection. It's not doing it forever and ever. It's doing it in a consistent way for as long as you do. And if that consistency gets stopped, it I wanted to say broken, but it's not like you're a broken person or your method is broken. But if you think of like a long chain of papers, I don't know if you used to make those paper chains where take a strip and then we used to glue them with paste or something in school back in the 70s, but now they probably tape them. I think my kids taped them, but you tape them. They're not as pretty when they're taped because the tape doesn't match the paper, the construction paper. But you make your paper chain and then you make another one. And we used to actually put them around Christmas trees and stuff. But if somebody went and ripped one, which sometimes they do, then the chain's broken, right? And you're thinking, so you're going along, and then it doesn't keep going. But you can put it back together. You can start again next time you get a chance. And that can be right away. That could be the same day. That could be, if you've been flossing your teeth every night and you wake up and think, "Oh no, I didn't floss my teeth last night." It's okay if you floss them in the morning and then go eat. I didn't know that before. I thought, like, they have to be really clean for a long time, but it's just getting that out before you eat again. And you can return to what you once did, or you can change. You can change whatever it is you were working on, and you can see maybe. I don't want to keep doing it that way. That was hard to sustain, but I'll make a little adjustment. I'll make a little shift in my method, in my system, whatever it is I'm doing, and I'll show up again in a new way. So, and sometimes it's even allowing in your goal to have that happen. I know with workouts and stuff, a lot of times people say, I'm going to work out 6 days a week. I'm going to work out an hour a day if I can, but if it's 20 minutes, that's good too. And on the days that you can do an hour, you do an hour. And the 20 minutes, you do the 20 minutes or whatever. I just talked to someone today. It's a guy that we knew when he was a teenager, and now we're all adults, and he's in his 40s, which is crazy to believe. But we were asking him how his parents were doing, and I hope he's not listening because it's the thing with podcasting. You don't want people to know you're sharing their information, but it wasn't like super personal, and nobody will know who it is. But anyway, he was telling me that his parents really like to count their steps, like, I don't know if it's like with their Apple Watch or whatever. And, um, and that if you're talking to them, like if you just go over the house and stuff and you're talking to them, they'll be standing and stepping in place, like walking in place while they talk to you, because they're always adding steps. They're always working on that goal. And, And that's and that's part of their goal, and they're just like, I gotta be doing my steps." And actually, I can see myself doing that at some point in my life. I mean, I've never been interested in measuring steps except for, like, if I went to Disneyland or something, I'd be curious, I did a lot of walking today. Actually, that was probably how many miles I walked, 14 miles one day at Disneyland, not steps, but you could even have that kind of as a backup, is I wasn't able to go out and exercise, but I can do this. I like to do something on the stairs. If you have stairs in your house, that how people do box jumps and stuff, and it takes a lot of leg strength. I've never been somebody that could do a really high box jump, but I could do maybe 10 inches or something, 12 inches maybe. And I only know that I can kind of from the step risers because I can go higher and lower on that. But in my house, I would work on keeping that strength consistent. Every time I go up steps, I just try to do, the 2 feet lifting at a time and jumping up the stairs. Choo, choo, choo. And the beginning it'd be like 2 and I didn't have a lot of strength there, but I get to where I could do like 6 without stopping, which probably doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot. It is a lot. And I haven't tried it in this house because the steps are wooden. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna fall or something. Maybe I should instead of carpet. Carpet felt safer. But 3 years and I haven't tried it. What's wrong with me? Oh my goodness. So yeah. So consistency is developing patterns in your life, because once you develop that pattern, it's like a habit that is a pattern. And when you have that pattern, you have that consistency, then it becomes somewhat easy. It's something that you do without thinking. And yeah, something might disrupt it, but if you're able to get back in it, even if you make a tweak or two, then you're able to keep that consistency. Ba, 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 ba. So when you have a routine, when you have a schedule, when you have some kind of a system, it it just makes it a lot easier. And if you decide to start or work toward a new goal, you have to develop some kind of system to support it, whatever it is. Like, let's say it involves getting in the car and driving somewhere at a certain time, and you're used to only getting gas once a week, but now you have to get it twice a week, whatever that is, whatever you have to do to have that system be supported. It could even be, well, now I need running shoes, or now I need to have more caffeinated drinks in my house because I'm going to take my laptop to the coffee shop. Well, I guess that would be you could buy caffeinated drinks there. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I rely on those at different points in my life to stay by my computer and get things done. So I'd probably go in a room like this to do that. But yes, it might affect the things that you need to buy to be prepared and everything. And it's nice once you get into like a streamlined system, you don't have to have that motivation to do it, because you've almost earned that motivation, like that ability to have the energy. You're self-motivated instead of pushing yourself to do it. Just so nice. I don't even know how long I've been talking. Should I look? You can look. I know it doesn't matter to you as much. 29 minutes, 51 minutes, 51 seconds. Oh my goodness. So I mentioned before, make it smaller, make it specific, all those things to help you. And whatever, if you're looking at the goal that you want to do and you have some hesitation, but that will be hard because, like, to get that first push when you're pushing something up the hill, it takes more energy to get that first push. So, whatever that barrier is that you can foresee, do what you can to whittle it away. Do things to make it easier to get out the door if you have to leave. Prepare everything the night before, the week before, set up a system, make it so your clothes are already picked up. I mean, the thing is all these systems take work, right? Even just keeping the laundry, the wrong laundry caught up. But you can do it. I mean, a lot of women with ADHD have been very high functioning for a long time. And in the areas that we haven't been, when we find out we have ADHD, we think, no wonder I struggled with this. But if you really look at your life, you can see I've actually done a lot of this and didn't realize that's why I was. I had the resourcefulness, the ingenuity, and the energy to actually get myself to do things like this. And there might be some things that other people have a hard time doing and that you haven't, and that you think, why can't I do this? And you see other people doing it, you think you should be able to do it all. But I'm sure there are so many things that you have done well. And if you look at the patterns of how did I get myself set up for that? Even if you've moved before, moving from one house to another or an apartment to another takes so much planning, so much energy, so much time. And it takes a system of going through your stuff, putting it in boxes, setting up the movers or you being the mover, or getting helpers or whatever it is. And then after you move, all of that. It is so much. It's very, very awful in a lot of ways. It can be really, really hard. But if you've gone through that, I look back, our last move was from California to Florida. You can't get much farther across the country, at least you stay lower in the country than that. And I never would have dreamed that for myself. I never would have thought I would be willing to do something like that. But when my motivator was to get to be near my kids and my grandchildren, and in my heart, I felt driven to do it. I knew it was right. There was no question it was right. It was more when I found out that's where my son's residency was going to be. It was more like, how on earth am I going to do that? Not like I can't do that. More like the wheels were starting to turn. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And so if you have some kind of goal, some kind of idea, some kind of pattern in your life, some kind of way that you want to function in your house, have that be your dream, your goal, and find a way to do it. Set up the little steps, and it might seem like a ton of steps, and all at once it will be a ton of steps, but take them bit by bit. When I look back at that move, a year later after the move, it's been 3 years now, a little over 3 years, but afterwards, when I started, I don't know why I'd even be reminded, maybe just this is the day we moved here or something like that. I went back and I looked at old emails from that time of our life, which wasn't that far away. It wasn't like, oh, way back then. It was a year before. But I just thought, how on earth? That was so much work. And I was still doing all the things at home. I was still teaching all my classes. I didn't have a podcast then. That was still in my dream phase. But I did it. And I didn't know I had ADHD then either. I haven't known that long. Well, I hadn't been diagnosed. I I knew in my heart I had it. I knew enough about it that I had it, but it took me a while until after I moved here. The move did me in enough that I thought, I think I need to go get diagnosed for this and see how to help it and learn more about it. And I wasn't even looking for medication. I even asked the psychiatrist why what would it help me with? And what's the reason for getting it? It's not like I'm in school. I don't have to show up at a workplace. I mean, I'm scattered in my yoga teaching for sure. But I mean, there's a lot of things about ADHD that I don't want to change and that I embrace and I love. I love those ways about myself and I like having the freedom to be scattered. Does that make any sense? It's like there's some creative allowance that goes with that I like. I'd rather do that, and maybe it's because I don't think I could be as structured, but I also feel like being that structured would be kind of feel like a prison. I don't know. Am I talking out into the void? Does this make any sense to you? Can you relate at all? I'd love to hear from you if you can. I just well, I wouldn't say I just joined. I just started getting active on as in, like, wrote a few posts on Threads. Have you been on Threads before? I think it's a perfect place for women with ADHD because Threads is kind of the old Facebook, but not really. I think Facebook was so big, it was the only place where you could go and connect with people that you hadn't seen in 10 or 20 years or 5 years for people who are younger, 1 year if they just went away from high school or something. That's when I learned about it with my oldest daughter was in college. But I was so excited because I am so attached to people and finding old friends. It was like, "Oh my goodness," "Hello, I love you," all that kind of stuff. And that you were able to just express yourself and talk about things and bounce ideas. And then it just became so different. And there's still some value I find in it at times, but especially seeing the old friends and things on there. But Threads, you go on and people are having conversations. They're just having conversations and exploring ideas and talking about things. And so my daughter told me I'd like it, and I signed up for I don't know how long ago and just heard about it. But now I'm on there more actively and talking to women with ADHD. So if you want to find me on there, it's just the same name as my podcast, I think, if I'm remembering right. It's Inspiring Women with ADHD. Let me see. Threads.com. If you have Instagram, the login can be the same, but you can actually change your profile. I need to change my picture because I have a pink background. This is the perfectionist I'm coming in. And my face looks too pink when the picture's little. I changed it to my yoga picture because I don't know, my profile, I made it more about kind of the mindfulness aspect of ADHD. But so I put on the picture that had my yoga top on, but I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not. I actually need to take new pictures, and who knows if I ever will. But anyway, yeah, it's Inspiring Women with Renee with ADHD, but at the top it says Renee Allen. That's weird. It has my description instead of like on Instagram, it has the username at the top and then it has like a description underneath it. But if you click on my profile here, the username is really tiny. It has my name really big, Renee Allen ADHD Methods and Mindset. Because I finally have a plan, an idea for a book. I've been wanting to write a book since I was in my 20s. I but I never could figure out what it was. Talk about not being able to make a decision, but honestly, it was more just not knowing what to write about. I wasn't trying to decide between anything. But just the past week, I have some really exciting ideas, at least to me. So I've been writing them down so I can't forget. But anyway, find me on there, Inspiring Women with ADHD, because, it'd be fun to connect that way, or you could email me hello@renee-allen.com or join my newsletter or something like that. But what else? What else? I know there was more. Oh, okay. So some upcoming episodes. And if you have any ideas of other things you want to talk about, let me know. Upcoming episodes. One, I want to talk about therapy. Therapy for women with ADHD. And there's a few reasons because I'll save that. I'll save that for the next episode, if that's my next episode. Because I've also been wanting to have Mondays be about mindset and mindfulness, one or the other. And every time I teach yoga, I think during the really relaxing poses when I'm in here teaching in my Zoom classes, I'm thinking of things that I want to share with you that I've learned from yoga about mindfulness that helped me so much with my ADHD, that helped me evaluate my mindset and understand what's going on. It's a big piece of understanding your ADHD is knowing how your brain works. And that's another episode I've thought of is the difference between the brain and the mind. They're different. And it won't be a scientific thing, it'll be function, what they do and how you use your brain to notice what's going on in the mind. it's super fascinating and it's really helpful for ADHD. So I want to start having a mindfulness Monday that I think that's probably what I'll call it instead of mindset Monday. I like things from my English major. I learned that I like things that kind of flow pretty and doesn't mindfulness Monday, even though it's longer. Harder to say. Doesn't that sound better than mindset Monday? I don't know. They both have their place, I guess. But I will dedicate that to talking about those kinds of things. And also calming the nervous system, all of those things. Could talk about that every week and never run out of ideas and ways to help you. So that's one. The other one's therapy. And if any of you have had therapy for ADHD, or whether you still are, or you've tried it, it helped you, or it wasn't for you, I would love to hear from you. You could reach out to me, DM through Instagram, Inspiring Women with ADHD, Threads. I think you can privately message on Threads. I'm still learning it. It took me about 2 days to just figure out how to comment because I'd see somebody's post and then I'd click on it. Okay, I guess I did know how to comment. I'd click on it and it would tell me that I could comment, but I couldn't see anybody else's comments. And I wanted to see their comments. I wanted to read through them. Anyway, yeah. Technology can be hard because it's not always consistent. But that's it. I get to go teach another class. It's my 4th class today in 45 minutes, but I need to leave pretty soon. But thank you for being here. I hope my other recording's going. I need to look to the right every once in a while. That's my audio recording. And in front of me is my video. But thank you for listening. Thank you for being patient with me in all my imperfections. The truth is, anyone that we listen to or watch is imperfect too, but sometimes they pretend like they're not. That's what I decided when I'm thinking, should I go start my podcast? And I thought, well, you haven't really done your hair. Well, I don't often do my hair. I think that's okay. We can be imperfect, right? Because we all are, but some people try to hide it, or maybe that's just not who they want to present to the world. And maybe I don't want to present it to the world either, but I have to be myself. So I have to show up as myself or I can't show up at all. But thank you again. I wanted to say thank you forever, but I know you need to go, and so do I. So I will be back. Bye.
I buttered my toast, spread on some grape jelly. I don't mean to boast, but I'm a chef and a good one. My grandma can't hear me. The breakfast is done. Ever getting colder, ever older, so I run. Open windows, broken shadows. Frozen dreams are left for tomorrow. Without a cause, no time for a pause.
Help other women find the show. Rate, review, share with someone you know. Help other women find the show. Rate, review, share with someone you know. Help other women find my show. Rate, review, share with someone you know. Thank you so much.